let's get started, guys. So again, we'll be talking about NFT utility and exploring what that actually means. Artifact Studio are with us, obviously quite an anticipated drop. Aesthetics are wild, but not many people know what utility is and what you got planned for Artifact. But instead of kind of asking you guys for leaks, we're gonna rewind it back to the start of the NFT journey.
I'm about to post shitloads of leaks right now.
Oh, nice, nice. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. But let's rewind it back, guys. Let's rewind it back. Let's talk a bit about your background in terms of what you guys did before the NFT space. And yeah, how did you get to before NFTs were on your radar? What were you guys doing?
Yeah, I can start while Benoit gets out the tweet. So I come from a sort of streetwear and bootstrapping background. I used to run loads of social Instagram pages and Twitter pages and growing online communities for streetwear and sneakers. And then from there, I set up a few companies, one dealing with like sustainability and fashion, Supreme like automation software to help people buy. So I've been really deep in the like physical collectible space and also the culture space. And then from there, I set up like a pretty big custom sneaker company, sort of catering bespoke footwear to celebrities and other people. And in between that, I got into esports, worked with FaZe a bunch, and was a big gamer my whole life. So really understand the digital item economy. And we introduced to NFTs very early 2018. Chris and Benoit were working on a project related, and when we started Artifact, our main goal was to create a company that's based in the future, and we thought a company in that space would operate with NFTs as for authentication. And it was quite wild to see the space explode. I think it was mainly due to COVID and people being indoors, because when we were early in the space, the communities were pretty small and loads of people didn't understand what even an NFT was. And seeing what happened over the last year has been insane, that now there's a whole mainstream one adoption coming and people educating. And so yeah, that's just a brief backstory on me.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's fine. I tweeted, so it's I can tell mine. But no, but go ahead, Matt, if you're about to say something. I'm cool.
No, you go ahead.
Your background,
yeah, cool. So, my background. Yeah, so sorry, because I tweeted, I was like head somewhere else. Background. So me, I've worked before in advertising and mostly for luxury house and like at the time millennial marketing and digitalization of the retail space, like stuff like that. I was always hired to be the cool guy with good ideas. And then I was in esports during the full first, and then Z, because we made shoes and we wanted to make them, and we found him. He was like the coolest guy we could find on Instagram, and and then we really became super good friends together and started to think. We discovered first NFTs with a company called Wax, because I was maybe doing the sponsorship with them, and Chris has been doing a case with them, and we thought it was the ultimate medium we were missing to, bring really, digital economy, but on creations and get out of just relying on games to get skins in games. And because working in esports, I knew the process was very long and not very direct to get your stuff out there. So when we discovered NFTs, we immediately thought it was the ultimate thing for us to use. And yeah, we just since then we did a lot. And as he said, it's quite crazy. I think we're really living in a live revolution, and it's really cool to see members of the revolution growing every day. But also it's cool, and I see there on the space, like to see familiar faces and familiar profile pictures of all these people active every day, pushing things forward.
Yeah, totally. It feels like we're part of this movement, and we're all on the same team. That we all understand that this thing's going to be big. Not many people outside of the NFT circle understand what is going on, but we know it's going to disrupt many spaces. So it's fun to watch everyone explore and experiment and see what they're up to and how they're disrupting their little spot. It's been a lot of fun to just watch everything unfold. But the NFT space has been interesting for me. Like I started in 2018 as well, and it's like what is sort of my strategy has evolved over time. I know you guys. I think you guys came onto my radar somewhere in 2020. I think when you were doing some stuff. When you did like an auction, was it a Nifty Gateway or Super Rare or something? You did like
the Ferocious or
No. Before that, I think you did a shoot.
It was
for,
super rare. Yeah, super rare.
Yeah,
It's super rare. So was that your first NFT that you
yeah.
did?
Our first
Right.
NFT was our Cyber sneaker, which
Mhm.
was a sneaker was inspired from Elon Musk's Cybertruck, and Chris edited it onto Elon, and it went super viral. It was covered everywhere, and before that, we were very cautious about releasing our first NFT because we wanted to
Right.
sort of make our mark, and we went with super rare, and yeah, it was a pretty crazy first experience. The bid went to 65 ETH. Then the buyer pulled it
And
off.
at the time, the record was 70 as well.
All right. Oh,
So
the buyer
he
pulled
put,
out at 65.
yeah, no, man, he put it in. I went to bed. I think it was like 2 a.m. We were all super happy. And then I wake up in the morning and the guy removed the bid. We didn't even know you could remove the bid. So we were like super pissed off. And the listing,
Yeah,
and it was unlisted because there was no active bid on the NFT. And oh man, it was
Right.
crazy. But in the end, like Defiance works. Like one of our collectors that's got a cool punk with mohawk. Like he stepped up and he put a bid. So in the end, we sold it for what, 30, 40 Z?
yeah, it was 30.
Yeah. At the time, it was
Pretty good.
$10,000. Yeah, at the time, it was like, whoa. But
Yeah.
a lot have changed since it was quite iconic first drop. Yeah.
Yeah. Back then, like a $10,000 sale was massive. Right now, it's
Yeah.
just like
Yeah. Now
anyone's
it's like
spending.
nothing, right?
Yeah, it's just crazy how the perception of money. Like I remember when Super Rare had its first bidding session, and back then I think it was Nifty Gateway actually. Nifty Gateway was doing this bidding thing or the auction, and it was the Genesis piece, the Batman, and this Trevor Jones and Jose Delbo piece. I'm not. You guys might remember, it might not.
The
But
angel stuff, no?
no, not the Bitcoin Angels. It was before that. It was like a collaboration between Jose Delbo and Trevor Jones. It was like this Batman sort of thing.
Yes. Yeah.
Animation. I remember when that bidding was going on, and it was reaching like over $100,000, and I was pretty much live on Twitter, just making videos all the time, being like, "Oh my god, guys, it's going over $100,000. The first time it's ever happened." And it's just crazy to look back and being like how hyped we were for. I mean, $100,000 is still a lot of money.
No, it's
But
still a lot, but we're thinking of that because, even us, when we did, and, it's kind of proof of how the space is crazy. Like when we did the Ferocious drop in February and we made 3.5 million, everyone was going crazy. What, 3.5 million in 5 minutes? But now, with collectibles, it became just like a everyday thing almost.
yeah, let's talk about that drop a little bit. Or actually, like, talking a little bit about your super rare auction. Did you have the mindset of what you guys are doing today and being like this sort of physical, digital, metaverse fashion brand? Was that always the play, or did
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
sort of idea evolve over time?
No, so we've always had the same vision of starting as brand first and building the sort of supreme of the space and then evolving to a platform. Our big focus for the brand is creators. So every like main creator that we work with, we do 50-50 rep splits, and with our secondaries exploding now, like a lot of the creators, some of them as young as 15, 16 and made hundreds of thousands. So we've always had the same vision. It just the way we would get there like evolved as the space dropped. Like we were planning to do physical items for at least another 2 years and just have the NFT as a secondary utility. But as the market developed quicker, we switched to our main plan, which is to go mainly digital products and just have the physicals as collector items. So yeah, it's been an amazing journey.
It's super interesting how like the value of things weren't that defined, whether people would value digital more over physical. I think only this year that started to hit mainstream in terms of like where does value lie in either one of those. Because I remember my first purchase in art was actually a Ferocious piece that came with a physical, right? It was the digital 101. It came with the physical. My kind of mindset was, all right, if I buy this package of NFT physical, whatever it is, then if the NFTs do well, that's okay. If the NFTs don't do well, I got the physical at least. It was kind of my hedge. But it's crazy now that not a single person has asked to buy me the physical painting, the canvas. But the digital one, I've had multiple offers for like
But also, as
a
you
lot of
speak
money.
of utility, it used to be one of the first utilities people came up with. Oh, okay, it's art, so I'm gonna give you a physical piece of art as well. Some companies were built up a bit on that with like infinite objects and stuff. And it's true that these days you don't see that much, because honestly, once you really start collecting, you totally understand why you put way more value in your digital possessions than the physical ones. Me these days, like, I would, if someone coming in my house and stealing everything, I'd be a bit pissed off. But if I lose my wallet, I'd be super pissed off. so yeah,
For
things
sure.
are, priorities change.
For sure. There's a little bit of background noise for you, Ben. I think I'm not sure exactly
Okay,
what.
sorry.
Yeah. And all right, so let's talk about the Ferocious drop. Now, let's start to explore what utility is and how that first sort of your exploration into utility was to give people physicals, I think, with the NFT. So I'm not sure if Ferocious drop came with also the wearable in Decentraland. So let's talk about like the frame of mindset of what you had with that whole drop and how to deliver value to people, and how you kind of model that.
Yeah, so the drop, like the start of it was super organic. We discovered Ferocious pretty early. We had a group. He let us know that it was a dream to make shoes, and every project we do, we try to maximize utility. Sometimes it's not at the beginning of the drop and it comes later, which I'll get onto. But with the Ferocious drop, we sold sort of the NFTs. Immediately afterwards, every NFT could be used in a Forge event. Forge event is our way of using the NFT to redeem physicals. The cool thing about these events is there's going to be multiple Forge events for NFTs, so it unlocks a new distribution mechanism of physicals where one NFT in the future can redeem up to like 50 physical items. We also partnered with StockX to provide a platform for the physical resale. I don't know if you saw, but someone just sold a physical without the NFT for $7,000, which is amazing, and we want to recreate that as much as possible. All of our physicals are super scarce. We don't have any intention of mass producing hundreds of them, and they're super bespoke. And then in addition to that, we gave the Decentraland wearables. So you have the NFT that also links to a wearable in Decentraland. And then in addition, everyone who forged received a super collector bonus item. And at the time, we didn't announce what utility it would have. And now that's also a pre-sale item for our Clonex drop, which the floor is over 15 ETH. So we've gifted out, in terms of the Ferocious and the Jeff Staple drop, hundreds of thousands of NFTs that have utility. And that's what we kind of take the approach of not explaining the full extent of the utility till afterwards. That way we sort of benefit our holders the most instead of people just flipping stuff for a quick profit. And our whole entire roadmap of the brand is to continue to add utility to all the projects. So right now all of our pre-sale items had a huge spike due to the Clonex drop, and probably the price might drop after that drop, but in the end, the people who hold the NFTs will have the most utility, and that's how we see it as like a game, that there's always new updates, and as we continue to build out our ecosystem and platform, everything is interconnected and plays a role in the grand scheme of the brand.
Yeah, and also on that, because we also beat the reputation of never knowing what to expect, and it's kind of cool because also even us, we don't know what to expect, to be frank. Sometimes we come up with stuff, and I think it's quite important because everyone thinks these days that they need to absolutely list everything and promise everything. Like, first, like, don't promise stuff if you don't know if you're really going to be able to deliver, because the worst thing to do is to disappoint people. And also, that's the thing of the NFT space. You can always update it, like a live game and a live event. And as long as you have good ideas and as the technology is evolving, you can always add up and update all your past stuff and keep on driving value and utility to your collections.
Yeah, I think that was really cool, Z, what you said in terms of seeing an NFT as a kind of a game that continues to get updates. It is true like that. I think it takes some people some time to understand what we're actually buying with some of these NFTs, because there are sort of tickets to access to the brand or the creator or the founder or the artist who can at any time decide to say, hey, well, if you own those NFTs, you'll get access to my next drop. Or if you own those NFTs, you can get a physical redeemable, or you get a Decentraland wearable, or you can there's literally unlimited use cases, or you could, in a physical world, you can use that to scan through and open the door to my games room or something. Like, there's so many things you can do with this sort of thing, right? So,
like the meta key, Martin. How did you come up with that? Like, it's us interviewing you now.
Yeah, like I don't really want to talk about the Medikey too much because this is about you guys. But hey, you brought it up, so let's talk about it. But
Yeah,
yeah, the Medikey was a concept where you could do this sort of thing, and exactly what you guys are doing, where you have that NFT and you can continue to update things to do with it. We have the same thing with the MetaKey where you own this a MetaKey, and what we are trying to do is kind of connect everything. We're trying to say, hey, well, let's give use cases for when you're in Decentraland. Let's kind of plug the MetaKey into all these different games where, hey, it gives you a 1% stat boost to find this rare ore, or it gives you a different aesthetic in a different game, or it gives you an extra Ethermon in Ethermon game, or if you take it to Sandbox, it connects you there. It has different use cases there, or there's exactly like every utility aspect that we can explore. Basically, you can package all of that into the one NFT, which is I've never seen a technology like that before, which I think is freaking amazing and fun to explore.
and it's a bit like some credit cards that get you like special discounts and access to stuff in a sense. Like you did it
Like an
super well.
NFT black
Yeah,
card.
yeah, black card NFTs.
Yeah, pretty much. All right, so the physical, the artifact, the Ferocious drop happened. What was kind of people's reaction? So they got the NFT, they got the physicals, and then that kind of blew up on social. What did you see them kind of valuing out of that whole package? Because I think it even came with like a Legend Nano. It came with stickers. It came with like a shirt. I have actually boxes of stuff at my home, full of things. So it was interesting. I think for me, it was kind of like watching you guys do an experiment and see what people value. So what did you guys kind of learn from that?
Yeah, we were actually surprised. A lot of people that bought the shoes didn't actually realize that there was a physical forging. So that was kind of like a bonus to them. And it was a lot of people's. We noticed that actual drop was a lot of people's first NFT who come from all the sneaker world. And then in terms of the physical, it was a pretty historic moment in the space. That was the first like NFT big sneaker sale with Ferocious, and that's why we went above and beyond to create the whole package with like t-shirts, stickers, custom ledger, and the shoes to make them true collectible items. And it was really amazing. It was probably my favorite part of the drop was when people received the physical products and the infinite objects, and seeing everyone on Twitter like enjoying unboxing was really awesome for us. And
Yeah,
just to add in, like, not many people know, but producing physical sneakers, it's one of the hardest wearable items to manufacture, just because there's a lot of overhead costs in terms of pattern making, sole molds, different sizes, and we developed our own technique that Chris got inspired from skinning video game assets, where it's like printed panels. So for us to make so many different unique shoes, and what we did with the punk drop as well, where it's like 10,000 individual designs, we're constantly trying to push what's possible forward in terms of like innovating on the physical level, not just on the NFT level. So for us, it was a great proof of concept of our vision actually coming to life, and it was great to see everyone enjoying their physical items.
yeah. No, it was. I love knowing that I have those physicals. I'm not sure if people will buy it off me at any point, but I just love knowing that I have them. And like every time someone comes into, well, they're all kind of stacked in my room, in the corner at my parents' house. Every time I show them, everyone's like, "What the hell? Why do you have all these shoes?" And I'm like, just gotta understand the NFT industry. People have a ton of physical stuff that they got for free from NFTs. I think
Those
the
should.
Gary Vee thing is.
No, I was going to say those are going to be worth a lot of money in the future, though, worth a lot we expect. So definitely hold on to all of those. If you guys want to go to the Artifact Twitter, we just did a mega leak of multiple different clones and gave an update on timeline and some future utility. So definitely check that out.
Sorry, just real quickly. Again, if my thing stuffs up, I think I made you co-host, Ben, and you as
Yeah,
well,
yeah, it's
Z.
good. Like this, we can invite people. Yeah.
Yeah, because so what happens with me is my sound just cuts off and I can't hear or speak anything sometimes. So I had to find a way to. I was actually going to end it for everyone, but I thought, oh, this is cool. You can actually make a co-host.
Twitter
Anyway,
Spaces is really glitchy a lot of times, so I feel like the guy who just
yeah,
said one question might have already got rugged. This happens like every day.
Maddie,
Yeah.
did you end up getting my message? I posted a comment on your thing saying, make somebody a co-host so we don't rug everybody.
No, I didn't, man. I'm so scared to leave these spaces and like minimize and go on Twitter because every now and then the sound and audio just cuts off and I'm like, I can't do anything. So I haven't seen. I'm just been on this space, staring at the screen with all of you guys. But that's good. Now someone's a co-host, so I won't rug everyone. But you guys are welcome to ask any questions at any time. I totally forgot what we were talking about. But let's the physical digital value. You know, we did the Ferocious drop. What did you guys do after that? I think you started to explore a little bit about Decentraland and Decentraland fashion. I did see some wearables come out.
Yeah.
And I think this is where we can start to talk about utility. So we start to now, like NFTs, I'm not sure how many people here have used NFTs beyond buying them to collect as art pieces or as an avatar. But suddenly, you know, there are different use cases, and Decentraland wearables is definitely one of them among many other things. So yeah, tell us about a little bit about how you start to explore sort of what Decentraland can do and what ideas you guys started with, what you can do in this virtual world.
I think first thing we did with Decentraland with Atari, we just went in there because we were always looking, doing fashion items where can people wear them, and Decentraland was one of these direct native places we could work with and have our wearables in game. And the first thing we did was with Atari, and it was crazy experience because we just gave, I think 1,000 Z. We gave, was it 1,000?
Yeah, it was 1,000.
Yeah, 1,000 Atari shoes in Decentraland during at our office space that we designed with Atari and Decentraland team. And I think it made the game crash, and it was crazy, and it boosted the mana price immediately and the Atari stock actually. So that's when we thought,
Right.
okay, it's crazy because you can do drops in game, or your drop has a direct impact on the economy of the game and the token of the game. And so we really explored a lot of Decentraland because it's using real-time 3D techniques and texturing techniques that we know a lot coming from video game industry. And it was the direct platform we could work with. So we did several stuff there, and every time we do something that's a wearable item, we always try to add that utility because we know the pipeline, know how to do it, and we work really well with the team there anyway. So that's the first time we did something on Decentraland, and it became like one of the go-to always on utilities we have when we do wearables.
Yeah, and just
Right.
to add into that, we also retroactively, so like I think 80% of all the NFTs we released, we've airdropped a wearable that represents that NFT. So right now we're partnering with all the crypto native games that allow sort of us to mint and distribute stuff. But a big goal of ours is to actually get NFTs linked into AAA and like big games. And we're speaking with a lot of game publishers who are experimenting because we believe the main thing of this technology is the ownership element. And when I think the consumers and people who play games realize that they're spending all this money on digital items that they can't resell or trade, that there'll be a point where the demand will increase, that game publishers will have to adopt some decentralized NFT system for in-game wearables. So we're really building for that future and actually working to create first case scenarios with the game publishers. So that's our big belief, that NFTs and video games is going to be like the biggest utility, because you spend hours gaming and spending real money, and you should be able to tokenize and trade and sell these items and skins in game.
Yeah, I think that's the sort of thought process that's happening with the gaming disruption. Obviously, Axie Infinity, but there's definitely other games. I don't want to just say Axie Infinity is the only one, but people are sort of realizing, wait a second, why are we not earning money playing games, or why is that time not incentivized? Why do we not own the assets that we use, that we pay money to get? Like any crypto person paying money for a game item, it just doesn't make sense not to get an NFT back or something that is digitally tangible, or whatever you want to call it. But yeah, it's one form of disruption that utility and gaming just makes immediate sense. In fact, I think when people talk NFT, in the very early days, like in 2018, before art sort of blew up, everyone was expecting games to be the main kind of leading horse. But we all know games take years to build, at least a good game.
It's also years to build, but these game publishers are making millions with their closed ecosystem, so they don't have any incentive to open that up. So, but I think we're going to see a huge shift with people understanding the value of ownership, and things are going to change over the next few years with this tech.
Yeah, totally. I think that's what I was waiting for as well. Like, traditional game publishers, like there is no incentive for them to risk losing their user base and risk losing that secondary market volume to something like OpenSea. But something like Axie Infinity can go on and show why and how that is profitable. And I think it starts with using blockchain as a whole and kind of understanding how to use fungible and non-fungible tokens in your ecosystem. But where there's a will, there's a way. So, I mean, Axie figured it out. Many others are figuring it out. And I think even Habbo Hotel releasing NFT avatars and starting to outreach to other NFT projects to bring them in. There's definitely some more experiments from mainstream right now.
And also, they're all the game publishers are watching. They're full of very smart people.
Yeah.
They're taking their time, and once they come in, they're gonna come in big.
Yeah, I'm actually hoping next year or the year after, probably next year, we should start hearing some plans as to some of the big ones and what they're doing. Like my favorites being Warcraft and obviously Pokemon and some other traditional games. Just in terms of the stuff that I used to play when I was younger, Dota 2, etc. So it'll be really exciting to see what they kind of come up with. To start experimenting with NFTs or blockchain.
Yeah, we've been talking to a lot of them.
Interesting. Bullish on Artifact.
Yes.
All right. Well, let's get into the avatars or just the avatar concept at the start. When we buy avatars, this sort of avatar thing kind of popularized by, I would say, punks, but I actually think Bored Apes sort of set off this new era of avatar projects.
They set up more like the fact that when you have the avatar, you belong in a club, and they made it like front running in the way they build their brand, whereas punk was more of a secret society.
Yeah, I mean, punk never had the intention to make it a club or anything. It was just like a collectible, right? So I think that's where that sort of intention sort of differs.
Yeah, but it became a club, Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. But in terms of like when people buy a punk and punk owners, and you look in the future, you can kind of see where it's going. That maybe some big games, some big like open worlds, you can kind of use your punk and verify that it's you. You can probably do it on Twitter soon, etc. And suddenly it becomes this thing of like not many people will own punks in these multiverse games where everything's connected. And so when you are a punk and that's verified in these games, this is going to be like the coolest thing ever. And so you can see where these avatar projects are going. So with that in mind, and obviously with Bored Apes coming up and setting off this whole avatar thing, I'm pretty sure like that was a no-brainer for you guys to just do something with avatars.
Yeah, we bought punks early on, and like after experiencing the community and sort of how it works as like an identity symbol that you can wear, and we knew that we wanted to enter that specific market. It just, with every drop we do, we try to innovate and bring something new to the table. So we've been actually working on this project for more than 5 months, and we really feel that the way we're making it in terms of the 3D model element and the aesthetics, the design, also what's pretty incredible is all 20,000 of the avatars have a very unique identity and feel. It's not like they look all the same and just have minor color differences. And in terms of utilities, we're planning years in ahead to eventually allow these avatars to work in multiple different metaverse games, allowing like the 3D models that are already optimized and rigged for social creation or Zoom. And in terms of like the design, we merged like the 3 founders, me, Benoit, and Chris. We're big like anime heads, so we merged all of our favorite parts of anime culture into this one project, which we feel like the identity and the feel is very unique, and they look dope, basically. So we're super excited about it.
I just reconnected. I totally rugged myself because my thing disconnected the voice, but I'm back. I think you said something about the avatars and how you got some plans for it. So let's explore that a little bit deeper. Sorry, Z, I totally missed like the last 30 seconds of what you said. But let's, again, talk a little bit more about avatars and the future of these avatars. So they started off with people just making them in terms of the images, and that having value in terms of just it being something collectibles. And now people are saying, hey, it's utility. It's a ticket to Discord. I think a lot of people are saying at the very basic level, you can use it in Discord. And then some people playing with the fact that you can take it into virtual worlds. But where do you see it going beyond what people already are thinking of? People are thinking of using it in, Zoom. I know you guys put out a video of using those avatars in potential Zoom calls, etc., Google Meets, and being your identity. Do you see anything beyond identity?
I mean, identity is the first part, and then it's a way for you to express yourself. And as you said, it's the ticket to Discord. The first, I think, utility and that the punk had was the fact that you were part of a secret club, even if you didn't know. Now it's something that's put forward in all the projects since the apes. Totally, nailed that blueprint of the club. So I think that's the first part, and then you can do having the ability to use it as many platforms and places where you want to express yourself in a specific way possible. I think is the key thing to do, and it's a lot of work, to work with all the partners, all the 3D side. But really, the identity it's involving a lot of different aspects of your self-expression and social life. So it's just the ultimate, I think, NFT you can have to start to build your persona online.
And also that everyone's on social medias all day, using them as profile pictures is the best way to portray identity or show which community you're part of. So it's kind of like a marriage of the digital world fully and being able to express it, especially with Twitter and other social medias allowing soon to verify that you own the NFT as your profile picture. That really changes the game of how these items NFTs are used.
Yeah, it's crazy how human behavior is. Like, if you would have told me that avatars or identity on social media, or people just changing their profile pictures to certain images or what they'd like to represent, would be one of the biggest industries in the NFT space, I think I would have totally missed that. Would have just gone right over my head, because I would have thought, like, again, like, for me, it made sense as a collectible. It didn't make sense of people actually putting it as their profile pictures, because I thought, well, anyone can do that. Why would that sort of be a main use case? But obviously people, I mean, you kind of will probably get called out if you use a punk that someone else's. It just looks a bit silly. Punks on ETH are the core, the first punks. So if people do it on Solana or they do it on BSC and they have another punk, it just doesn't look, it doesn't feel, it looks like there's a different vibe to it. So it's crazy to me that people can just turn their profile picture into what they represent and not really be questioned so much to verify that, if that community, that small community and the larger community kind of know who owns that. So yeah, identity is a massive industry, and I think it definitely took me a little bit by surprise in terms of how people are utilizing that on social. But the verification thing makes total sense moving forward. But yeah, in terms of games, and I think you guys mentioned that you guys were talking to a couple of game studios. Would love to know what your thoughts are and your conversation. Not so much the fine details, but in terms of their vibe, like, are they receptive to NFTs and blockchain, and what sort of utility makes sense for them? I'm sure in terms of financial revenue and monetization, they're exploring it. But in terms of utility or value to the customer, are they thinking certain things that we haven't thought of already? What's going through their minds?
I mean, we can't say like all the stuff we spoke about, but for sure they take a deep interest now. Like we definitely saw a change between 2020 and 2021, and I think some of them are really thinking deeply about this and thinking new ways to build games, basically, because it's not only an economic thing, it's how you think of the game, how you think of people are creating and earning money with your game, and it's changing a lot of the aspects of your game. But the big ones, they take that very carefully because they have such a big audience, such a big logged in economy, that it's very hard for them to just come in and even experiment, because it's too big for them to disturb.
Yeah. Before we get into the Q&A, or open up this floor for questions, anything about Artifact Studio, Avatar Drop, Clonex that you can tease on here? I don't mean to put you on the spot, but I kind of do as well. So like, anything you want to leak for us on audio?
One thing I can leak is how we thought about the licensing to it. So there's two forms of licenses. One, which is a majority of the project, probably 80 or 70%. We're allowing people to have a commercial license up to $1 million to create their own brands or derivatives from the actual clone that they receive. So yeah, we really want to encourage people to use their IP that they own to try new things, similar to what we saw with the apes. But with this one, we're giving 3D models that are rigged. So the possibilities of creating an anime or a brand really pushes it to the next level. And last thing I'd leak is the forging experience. We put a lot of time and thought into the wearables in it. And yeah, we're planning mega forges for the clones. So that's a little teaser into what's coming up.
Interesting. You mentioned 80%. So when you say 80%, you're saying like the whole IP isn't open to be used? Or like,
Correct.
yeah.
We have something that we're probably going to announce next week that will explain why. But
Yeah.
majority of them have a commercial license. Some don't, but they have some other very special utility that makes up for that.
I think I can kind of predict what you guys have in store because the Medikey are also working with some brands, and we also want to open it up for people to use it in comics and do whatever they want. But for us, we want to protect the breed. Obviously, you can't replicate what an external third party brand's IP is. So I think that's what you guys are thinking. I'm not sure. Let's open it up for questions, guys. Anyone?
You'll see.
Yeah. You guys are
We've got
teasing
Farouk here as
relentlessly.
well.
Farouk,
Yo,
Farouk.
what's up, man?
what's up, Maddie? What's up, Benoit? Zap, Jeremiah? What's
You
up,
know,
y'all?
Farouk.
Farouk is like the Twitter Spaces king. Every time I wake up, there's something going on with Twitter Spaces. Farouk.
I mean, we like the spaces, Maddie. We love the spaces.
Yeah, they're awesome. I mean, we've all like ditched Clubhouse. I think that lasted a couple of months.
It's we follow the community in a way. Like people are here, we're here, and Twitter's fun. I mean, though we get rugged a lot, like you just did.
I rugged myself. I'm to blame for that.
Oh, okay, yeah, I've been there, done that. I got no question. I just love my boys here. Benoit, Zap, Shata. Um, Shut the Clack too, Michael, and to you guys. What you guys are gonna do is sick. Like I'm just so hyped. I just need it. I just need it. I can't wait for Clonex to come out.
I just remembered, Farouk, that
Yeah.
you see the Atari sneaker that you got, the OG that you lost,
Stop,
man.
stop.
You lost 3 clones, dude.
How'd you
No,
lose
Farouk,
it? What happened?
you can sell some cool cats, if you want to try that.
Listen,
One cool cat, one.
I got a bag filled of artifact stuff, and I'm super happy. I even got my Meta Pigeons hoodie and my T-shirt this week, which I'm pretty hyped about. So I'm super excited for Clonex. I'm excited for you guys to drop that shit. I think it's gonna be the best. It's what's gonna set the tone for like what a 3D avatar project should be like. We've seen a lot of 2D. I've seen Benoit write about 3D. Being the new wave and how it's gonna pave the way and change things. I'm excited to see it done properly. I think you guys are really, really gonna do it really well. And I saw the Zoom stuff, which was cool, and the news that keeps slipping off everybody's. Everybody forgets about. I don't know if you mentioned it, but you probably did. It's just the fact that you can forge different items that are part of your avatar, and we often say like we are our avatars and they're us and they represent us in the metaverse. But what if I could dress up like my avatar IRL? I mean, there's some cool aspects. So excited too about all the artists you're bringing on, and it's gonna be fire.
Yeah, I think every avatar drop that we see kind of takes things to the next level. And it's always good to push the boundaries and really take the time to make a great aesthetic, make a great utility case. Mechaverse was awesome. I think Mechaverse did aesthetically just took things absolutely to the next level. But it is a little bit confusing as to think, okay, what else will they be doing with this? They've got an open floor and they can do whatever they want. So it'll be interesting to watch what they have in store.
And it's super cool, guys. I've been speaking with them, like great team, and some people, are like jealous and saying bullshit on Twitter. Like they did a crazy job.
Yeah, I think they did an amazing job in terms of the distribution and just the tech behind it. I mean, it was one of the examples of it's so hard to manage 240,000 Discord members. Maybe I don't know how many of them were real. I'm sure a lot of them would have been bots just because a lot of people bought Discord groups that are hyped. That's not really their fault. But just to manage that and to create some sort of a fair distribution model, the Twitter
Yeah,
authentication.
the raffle was good, honestly.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, I just
you
thought
know,
it was good. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
they managed the mega hype pretty good. It was
so.
impressive to see the numbers. I think I didn't get it. I tried to get it. I mean, I took an L in the raffle, which is a classic for me. But it's I think they you know they did good in that end. I mean, I'm not a biggest fan of what came out of it, but I don't care. Like they killed it in terms of like they got everybody talking about them. So nobody
Mhm.
can knock the player here. What I'm excited about versus them versus like Artifacts, like Artifact is like already super established, right? Like you guys have been in the space, you've done things, big things only, and like you know how to drive value to your product, into your project. And I mean, you've seen it. The people who wanted to exit the Artifact probably got a fat exit, right? Because the floor exploded across all your projects, and the people who got in are excited to get in because like they want those things. Like I'm holding on to all of mine because I'm excited to see what I'm gonna get out of it, and the team always delivers. So
I
it's
mean,
like
you were asking me if you should sell one not too long ago.
yeah, I was like, bro, I was
like,
Benoit, I'm like, yo, that's a lot of money. I mean,
The money,
he's up to
man.
20 ETH, and I'm like, yo, what am I supposed to do here? I have 5. He's like, and I'm like, what do I do? And he's like, nah, you gotta keep that. I'm like, all right, okay, yeah, fuck it.
I mean,
gotta
that's
keep
showing
all
how
of it.
confident we are. You know, like, we're working hard. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey guys,
Exactly.
how you
Like
all
each
doing?
one's worth like 50K now, and I was just thinking about it yesterday. I was like, I can't believe I'm holding this NFT that's worth 50K right now for like 3 avatars. I mean, yes, they are Clonex avatars, but it's just weird. Like you got money sitting there on the table, and then you're waiting for something digital. It's like 50K is like almost a car.
it's
Actually,
like
I
a
have
choice in
17.
game. You know, you need to pick your choice, your road in the game. Do you take the money? Do you trust the avatars?
And
It's
and
the
another
choice.
thing that's been like amazing is only 4% of the NFTs are actually listed for sale. So like our audience are holding on to them, and we've seen over 30 million in secondary sales. So a lot of our early adopters actually cashed out. So we'll see how they feel within a few months. But it's amazing, like wealth generation that we can support, and that's kind of why we did the distribution of 50% of the supply to our early adopters, because those are the people that believed in us when they didn't know the full scale of what we're working on, and we feel like these people should be rewarded. So no, we're
Yeah, I think
really
that's
happy to see.
I think that's really important. Like you want NFTs to go to the right people, and holders or people that don't sell over the short term. You can kind of see who the holders are. I mean, people can do whatever they want. I mean, it's not bad to sell and flip. I mean, everything's okay in this industry. But for me, like I remember when buying those Artifact Studio NFTs that came with the Ferocious piece, the shoes. I got them for the shoes and I got them for the NFT. I actually didn't know what would hold the value of the NFT because I didn't really know what brand it was actually plugged into. Was it Ferocious art piece? Was it an Artifact Studio thing? But it's just interesting to watch because I looked at the graph and I think it hit a low of like 0.7 Ethereum or maybe even lower than that, and then suddenly boomed when you guys announced utility. And that announcement alone took it from 0.7 to now what we're seeing is 15 ETH. And I think it might even touch 20 or may even like surpass 20. I don't know. But it's just interesting to see like what drives the value, whether it be the brand or an announcement of utility. Because at any time, whatever you own, it may look like it's might be dropping or going sideways, but you never know. It could boom depending on what the brand or the artist decides to do.
It's gonna go higher before lunch. I can predict.
Ooh, I hope. I'm sure it will.
Hey,
Do you
hey
have?
everyone.
I'm sure you guys have a lot of announcements in store.
Matty, there's I think someone wants to speak.
Hey Matty,
Yes,
how you
please
doing, mate?
speak.
It's GT.
Go for it. Oh, do I have to approve a
Can,
request or something?
can you hear me, Matty? Anyone?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah.
I can hear you.
Hey, so I want to throw a question out there, and your thoughts on the likes of your NFT or digital to physical and vice versa. So you've got the likes of Meta Hero, who are scanning, IRL people and the likes into the NFT space, and vice versa. So take Mecca, Mechaverse, where we're looking at possibly printing out 3D avatars and the likes. What are your thoughts on that transition between digital and physical there and the connection?
We always thought of the physical stuff as a very nice bonus that can be amazing, cool, or nice, but we never consider it like the core of what we do. We always start from the NFT and what it is and what it can be long term. and that's physical stuff or experiences are spawned out of the NFTs. But I don't think, and also Meta Heroes, I don't understand anything about what they do. To be frank with you, if someone is in the room and understands, I'm happy to understand the planets and all that stuff. But I think it's just super nice to have, but it's not a priority. But it's part of how you build your brand, your ecosystem, and do cool stuff, for your community.
Hey, I, I have a question. Um, so you see this trend happening with Lava Labs and even Basie, right? Like they did some kind of deals with like few agents from Hollywood and whatnot to like enhance their IP. I just wanted to ask you like what do you guys think about it? And would like do you have something like that in plans with either MetaKey or with artifacts?
Sorry,
Yeah,
do
I
you
can take
mean?
this.
Yeah, go on, Z. By the
Yeah,
way,
no, yeah,
just
go
very
ahead,
quickly, Z.
Manny. Sorry.
No, I'm sorry if I'm talking over anyone. I don't know why I didn't hear GT speaking or anyone else. So if I am, just Ben, tell me, and I'll rug myself and come back in.
Okay.
All good. No, just to your point, I think it's interesting. I think it's more on the side of these mainstream talent organizations or industries trying to get into this space. I think it's the test of time will show, like, does it actually benefit the NFT or the project? We've been speaking with more sort of global and talent and big media corporations, but it's hard to understand what utility or what they're actually going to bring to the table. I think the space of people creating derivatives or side brands from the NFT will increase, but now it's kind of early to tell. They make good announcements, and in some sense, the announcements create more value, but it will be exciting to see what actually comes from these sort of arrangements. But right now, it's kind of early to see how they'll play out, and I think there's more demand on the mainstream side trying to get into the space through projects that have big communities than NFT projects needing external mainstream support. So that's my view on it.
I kind of share the same view. I think when the NFT industry was smaller, I would wait. I think we would also wait for like big brands to get involved and to kind of accept us in a way. But what we're realizing is that we are creating like the biggest IPs ourselves, homegrown internally. So whether that be Axie Infinity or Bored Apes or anyone else in this space that is building something of high caliber, so it's actually more value to them to partner with us because we're teaching them more, and we'll probably bring more value to them because we're already on the trajectory to build some pretty big, well-known brands that in 10 years will be well known to be a pioneer in the space, and the future whatever big gaming brands or game or any sort of other studios might have. So yeah, I've my respect for this space has always been high, but for ourselves, I think yeah, I definitely respect what everyone's building, and I think it's cool to have a partnership with other projects, but it's not mandatory.
Yeah, that's
Hi.
awesome.
Yo, Rob, what's
Hi,
up, man?
Benoit, Mehdi,
Good to see you.
Z. Robert here from Play to Earn, online magazine. I was actually wondering, I'm all into interoperability and that kind of stuff. Like, I would love the idea of having one NFT character that smoothly transitions from one world into the other. I know we're not there yet, but have you guys been talking to crypto avatars and Toxam or some of the other projects involved in avatar creation to establish some sort of like common ground or I don't know, open source rules for avatar creation to create a sort of like a standard?
Yeah,
We
we've been.
didn't. I
Go
mean,
ahead,
because
Benoit.
we didn't spoke to these guys. Like we follow what everyone is doing, and it's true. You're right. Like people should start to regroup on agreeing on a new standard. But so far, what we focus on is making sure that we can export in, because we think you need to do it a bit the old school way at first before you're trying to do the new standard. and making sure that all type of 3D software, GLB files, all this type of stuff you can output from the base 3D file, master file you create. So we're focusing on making sure this is out because, having the 3D files for us and having the ability for people to use them as they want in as many places as they can was a priority. But you're right, like we should, regroup with some people. But we had some discussions, but so far nothing is really moving forward or a big thing forming around that, from our experience at least.
It of course also depends on the worlds that support it. Like you can make a standard, but if no world supports it, then you're just
you
standing
need the
there.
platforms to adopt them. Yes, exactly. Yeah. So we should maybe work because you see as well, already between the two main ones, Sandbox and Decentraland, one is using completely different type of 3D technology, and like voxel as the aesthetic, and Decentraland is polygon, so it's very different, ways of doing stuff. But so us, we believe a lot in the use of 3D experience on the web. We did quite a lot of stuff on WebGL, and the GLB format that works for AR and this type of things is a format we believe a lot in. So I think it could almost be that format that everyone agrees on at some point.
Would that be something you would do yourself, like create your own world?
Us? Yes, everything is possible. Yeah, you never know.
and you, Maddie, what's your stance on all this?
Oh, same thing, man. First of all, good to speak to you. I have seen your stuff, your magazines, and your articles. I learn a lot from them, so I know you're super plugged in. So shout out to Play to Earn. Check it out if you haven't. They're great in terms of exploring the space. Pretty much the same, man. I think we should have a standard, but my experience, waiting 2 years for Decentraland to launch, being part of the crypto voxels, like checking out their world for a bit, for a very long time, us communities were kind of frustrated why these guys aren't talking to each other. But then, it takes some time. And it took me some time to realize that it takes a while for projects to build out their own project, their own IP, their own workings of how their own vision. And then at some stage, there will totally be this crazy move to interoperability and speak to each other. So I think, Artifact Studio are still quite busy. I mean, they haven't even released their avatars. Once they do that, crypto avatars are great. Like, I know Daniel pretty well. I speak to him on WhatsApp quite regularly. Polygonal Mind, they come from. So, a lot of respect for him and what he's doing. But at some point, there will be this kind of open standard. There needs to be for there to be this interoperable idea of taking your one avatar to another place, because I think that's probably one of the biggest, if not the biggest, kind of benefits of blockchain. It allows Web3 to speak to other Web3 projects. So, yep, totally agree with you, Rob. And I think it's a matter of time. I just don't think I think we have to give individual projects the time to build on what they already know works, and then start to experiment with things that might be there needs to be a lot of testing required.
Yeah, like if someone is interested in this whole interoperability virtual world stuff, check out Dunk VR on Twitter, Jin. He's building Webaverse, and it's a bit of a mashup of everything, and you can probably get your Clonex characters walking around in that world as well. So check that out.
Yeah, shout out to Jin, who's always
thanks.
Also, I need to run. I've got a meeting. Thanks, Maddie, and everyone for joining in. Peace out, everyone. Bye.
So that's pretty much it, guys. I'm not sure if you have any more questions, but we are an hour through. So thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Ben. Thanks, Z, GT, and everyone else that joined us. We'll be definitely doing this more often. But any last words, Ben?
No, I mean, just keep on doing the cool stuff, everyone, and yeah, we're gonna make a good drop. We're working super hard on it, and it's really a blessing to be able to do that every day. It's really cool.
I have no doubt. All right, thanks, guys, for tuning in. We'll do another Spaces sometime soon. But yeah, I have a YouTube live that I'll be running in the next 5 minutes. So if you want to jump to DCL Blogger on YouTube, jump there, or enjoy the rest of your night or your day. Take care, everyone. Bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Maddie. Appreciate you.